Blog Talk Radio.
Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to another great episode of Blog Talk Radio here with Patrick Allman. I am broadcasting from the middle state, from the middle city in the middle of the state, Oklahoma City, where it's very beautiful weather today. It's in the middle of December. It's going on the beginning of December, but for some reason the weather is absolutely gorgeous outside. Just my kind of weather. I think it's in the 60 to 70 degree range. But hey, that's not what you came to hear about. What you came to hear about is what's going on in the world of Stop Doing Nothing. And my goal today is to provide you some insight and some lessons as to how to create the perfect world, to create the perfect day. I call Stop Doing Nothing the community for high achievers. And what that means is that my goal is to share with you information every day, every week, of how to gear yourself towards building the perfect day, towards building the perfect lifestyle. We can't always be motivated. We can't always be happy. But what we can do on a consistent basis is set ourselves up for success. And that is what my goal is for you, is to show you how to be successful, to show you how to be successful personally, to show you how to be successful professionally, and to show you how to be successful when it comes to starting or establishing a business. Like I said, my name is Patrick Allman. I run a company called Focus Consulting, and I run Stop Doing Nothing here in Oklahoma City. And before we get too far, I would encourage you to grab a piece of paper and a pencil, take some notes, and also to consider sharing this on your social media channels. Help me out and share this on Facebook, share this on Twitter. Go like the Facebook fan page, which is just Stop Doing Nothing, facebook.com/Stop Doing Nothing. And also follow the radio show on Blog Talk Radio and subscribe on iTunes. I have a million different ways for you to subscribe in. If you are listening to this show, you can call in live and give me your feedback on what I'm talking about. And the number for that is going to be 424-222-5282. Again, 424-222-5282. And like I said, also go fan the fan page, help me out, and share this on social media. I'm going to be with you for the next 29 minutes and 30 seconds, and our topic today is going to be covering the steps that you need to start implementing in your life to creating your ideal perfect day. And what I'm talking about when it comes to your perfect day, I'm talking about a day where you wake up your eyes in the morning and your head's still on the pillow, and you realize that you have things for the day planned that are very exciting. There is nothing in your day that you're not looking forward to. Typically, it's not uncommon for people to wake up day after day and they just dread what's ahead of them. And that's a very depressing way to live, in my opinion. When you wake up in the morning, you should be so excited that you cannot wait to hop out of bed. As nice and warm and cozy as the bed is, you should have things scheduled in your life that are exciting to get to. You can't wait to get done with the current thing because you want to go on to the next thing. And both of them are just exciting. And you feel somewhat sad at the end of the night because when you have to go to bed, you're actually going to have to stop doing what you love doing every single day. So to me, creating the perfect day is putting things on your calendar, putting things in place that make you happy all of the time, that you're looking forward to doing. You're going to hear me talking about some of the things that make me happy. This is one of them. I love my Thursday afternoons because I get to talk to you and I get to share what I've learned over the past week and in my X number of decades of life. Flying is another one for me. If I could wake up every single day or every other day at least and get a chance to go out flying, I could not be happier. Speaking and training people in a public setting is something I'm also very excited about. I'm a member of the National Speakers Association, and I go out on a regular basis, and I get to speak and share my wisdom with other groups. That's something else that just jazzes me up. Friday mornings, I get to volunteer at elementary school, and I look forward to nothing else that week than going and helping out that elementary school. When I wake up Friday mornings at 5:30, I can't wait to get out of bed and get showered and get shaved and go there and just hang out with those kids and be there in case they have problems. So those are just a few examples of things that you could put in your day, the things that are in my day that help make my day a perfect day. Like I said earlier, the call-in number is 424-222-5282. And we've got a chat room on the Blog Talk Radio website, blogtalkradio.com/stopdoingnothing. You can hop in there and give me some feedback also. Anyway, we're going to be covering the part about how to create a perfect day in two different parts. The first part is going to be gaining back your time, and what I call eliminating what you don't need to do, or eliminating the things in your day, in your life, that are a time suck and are getting in the way of the things that you want to do. Now, what I'm talking about here is each of us has things scheduled in our day that may not be very productive for us. Some examples are things like maybe hanging out a lot on social media, TV, hanging out with neighbors or friends that aren't necessarily that productive for us or that healthy for us, doing things with our time that just don't get us to where we want to be. And what I wanted you to do is start thinking about ways you can eliminate these things from your life. I'm obviously one for hanging around on social media. I use it quite a bit in marketing, but in my opinion, you can actually spend too much time on there. And I tell people all the time, don't give me the excuse that you don't have the time to do X, Y, and Z if you have time to like 50,000 things on Facebook. You can't justify to me that you have all this time to do this on Facebook, but you don't have time to start writing your book, or you don't have time to spend time with your family, or you don't have time to take lessons, or you don't have time to go to the gym. I'm sorry, you can't speak out of both sides of your mouth. Same thing goes when it comes to watching TV. Again, there's plenty of TV shows I like to watch, but I think it has to be done in moderation. If I'm going to set high goals for myself, I'm going to be a high achiever, I need to look at the time I have available to me and allocate it and use it as best as possible. Last week's show was all about time management, and if you didn't get a chance, I would encourage you to go back and listen to that show on time management. It's available on iTunes as it's available on Blog Talk Radio. We only have a limited amount of minutes in every single day, and you have to treat every single one of them with care, and you have to plan and schedule every single one of them. Now, most people don't do this. Most people just kind of wake up and let the day come at them kind of willy-nilly, and, whatever happens is what happens. They leave their day to fate. They don't take control of their time. If you're someone who's going to be a high achiever, then you need to look at what you're doing every single day and figuring out what the productive items are so you can do more of those, and what the non-productive items are so you can do less of those. I mentioned social media could be one, hanging out with non-productive people, spending time on watching TV shows. I'm all about planning my TV time and watching certain shows. However, sometimes I fall victim to, and I see this a lot in other people, is just sitting there with the remote control, flipping up or down until you find something to watch. And that's not hard to do. If you have even the most basic of cable, you have 50 or 60 stations. God forbid you have digital cable or extended digital cable or extended digital cable with pay channels. Goodness gracious, it's not hard for you to find something to watch when you have 200 or 300 stations. So you have to get out of that habit of just flipping channels to find something to watch. Figure out the shows you want to watch TV, schedule them, get them on the DVRs even better. Watch them and then turn the TV off. Even better, go the movie route or go the premium route. But use a DVR. If you use a DVR, you can better manage when you watch your TV time. You don't have to watch Scrubs because it's on at 6 o'clock in the evening. You can watch Scrubs at 6 o'clock in the morning. It doesn't matter. So if you do have a DVR, take advantage of it, and that will really help your time management. Hanging around with non-productive people. We all have good friends and neighbors that we love to socialize with, but if you look at some of the people that you hang around with, you're going to find out that some of them can be pretty kind of Debbie Downer-ish, kind of depressing, non-productive. They don't get you. They don't have high things planned in their lives. They're not a high achiever. They are the kind of people that I was talking about earlier that just kind of leave their day to fate. They complain about the president. They complain about taxes. They complain about their spouse. They complain about their job. There's just a various number of things they complain about, and they aren't someone who has any aspirations in life. If you're around someone who is like that, if you're around someone who just isn't really going anywhere, I would suggest that you find a way to either eliminate that person from your life or severely limit your time and exposure to them for a couple of reasons. One, they are just a time suck. If you hang around with someone and they complain for an hour or two about their job or about their spouse, that's an hour or two of your life that you've lost that you could have been used to writing your book or building an educational program or building your website or exercising. The second one is their attitude's going to rub off on you. And that's the sadder part to me, is you feel the way that the people feel that are around you. If you hang around with exciting people, if you hang around with people that are high achievers, if you hang around with people that have goals and plans and aspirations, and they're just going to kick some ass, they're going to knock down doors and take names, they have great things going on, you will feel the same way. And I can attest to this one personally. There have been plenty of times in my life where I have had people around me that aren't necessarily healthy for me. Healthy mentally, healthy physically. There's some people who probably go to happy hour every single night. Or maybe, it's what's that called? It's hump day, which is Wednesday. So from Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, they're out drinking every single night. Now, I'm not against drinking. I love a good glass of wine. I love a good mixed drink. But alcohol kind of depresses the body and depresses the mind. And if you hang around with someone who drinks all the time, their attitude will rub off on you. Their lack of energy will rub off on you. And that's not what you want if you want to be a high achiever. So try to figure out who these people are. You may not have any. You may have gotten lucky, but more than likely there are probably some people in your life that are complainers, they're whiners, they're just not the kind of person you want to be. They're not a role model. If you're hanging around someone that you would not suggest to a child as a role model, then you might want to consider using that person, eliminating that person from your lifestyle, from your time. Again, TV is a possible waste of time. There are just various things I want you to do. I want you to look at your calendar from when you wake up in the morning until lunchtime, until you go to bed, until you wake up the next day, and figuring out, what am I doing every single day that's a time suck? What am I doing that's not getting me to where I want to be? If you had listened to the previous show, you would have heard that one of my big things that I suggest for people to alter their time is to alter their time management is to get up early. On an ideal day, I like to get up at 5:30. It's a good time to get up. I get up, I do my water regimen, I start reading, I try to exercise. I have that time to myself, and I also have more time to be productive. If you get up at 6 or 7 or 8 o'clock, you just don't have as much time. So if you're someone that wants to be a high achiever, you may have to sacrifice some of your time in the morning, but make sure you use that time for productive. So that was the first half of what I wanted to talk about, what I consider the part one there. If you have to eliminate the things in your life that are non-productive. Now let's talk about part two. Part two is you have to start replacing those things with things that are going to help you make forward progress. And what I mean by there is doing things like building your plan and executing little small steps every single day that are going to get you to where you want to be. Don't worry about big giant goals, big giant steps. You can't make big giant steps. No one makes big giant leaps in their life or big giant leaps of productivity. It just doesn't happen. But the way you become a millionaire, the way you become a gazillionaire, is you make tiny little improvements in your day every single day. Tiny little improvements in your physical abilities. Tiny little improvements in your financial position. Tiny little improvements in your physical health. Tiny little improvements in your attitude. Tiny little improvements in your productivity with certain tools. That's how you eventually become a massively productive person, is small steps every single day. So now that we're on part two, making forward progress, that's some of the things you have to look at. What can I do every single day to make progress forward? I was talking earlier about eliminating the wrong people from your life. As soon as you start gaining your time back, after you've eliminated the wrong people from your life, find a way to start getting around the right people. If you're someone who has always wanted to write a book, find a group of writers in your area. Every single group, every single hobby out there has geeks, has passionate geeks out there. And I bet you in your city, there is a group of passionate writers that every single week they get together and they talk about writing styles and how to get a book published and the spine and cover design. And if you can't find them in your city, you know what? Find them online. I guarantee you they're online. If you can't find a community for what your particular geeky hobby is, you know what? Hit me up on the Facebook fan page at Facebook. Facebook.com/stopdoingnothing. and ask me, and I'll find it for you. Google is your friend. If you're someone who's wanting to get in a particular physical shape, if you're someone who's wanting to compete bodybuilding-wise or athletic-wise, go to bodybuilding.com. Bodybuilding.com is full of nothing but people that are severely geeky about taking care of their bodies, about eating the right supplements, about doing the right exercises. If you're someone who's wanting to do what I'm doing, for example, do some kind of TV show or radio show, find people on the internet that are doing it and doing it right. Not doing it right, doing it well. There are tons of examples out there. The beauty of the internet is that just about every single thing that mankind knows has been documented, recorded, and indexed online. So you can go up to Google right now and you say, how do I start my own blog talk radio show? How do I start my own TV show? How do I do this? How do I do that? Just Google that sometime. How do I do X, Y, Z? Everything from how do I ride a bike to how do I enter a bodybuilding competition. That's all there on the internet. And also what I want you to look at is finding networking groups in your city, if you can, that like to do the things that you do. So find networking groups in your city. Meetup.com is a good place for that. Meetup.com is a good way to find physical meetings in your city, in or around your city, where, I'm trying to keep track of the online chat room there. And by the way, hello, Charlotte Robinson. Thank you for listening in. I really do appreciate it. Look at meetup.com for physical networking groups in your area and get around the people with the right mindset and the other high-achieving people out there and get with them in person. This is productive time spent. You've now eliminated all the other people in your life that are non-productive. Now you want to talk to the people that are productive in your life, and networking groups are great for that. Also, when it comes to getting to where you want to be in life, look at how you're spending your money. I have this in my notes here, listening to financial investments. How much money are you spending on things like junk food that you could be spending on things like tools to help you get further in life? Look at how much money you spend in Starbucks every week, and how can you turn that money into money you spend exercising or money spent hanging out with people that are going to help you get to where you want to be. So look at your financial planning and look where you can invest better in there. I have some other notes here about training. Try to find some groups in your area or schools or VOTEX that provide training with things that you've always wanted to do. If you've always wanted to start a website on crocheting and you've wanted to become the queen of crocheting in your city, go find a local VOTEC that's teaching that. You have plenty of time. From the moment you wake up in the morning till the middle of the day till the evening, there's got to be some time in there someplace you can take a crocheting class. And one of my other big ones is actually physically taking care of yourself. And this is something that is near and dear to my heart because I've seen the effect on my own body of what happens when I don't take care of myself. In order for me to be able to do the things I was talking about earlier, to fly airplanes, to do public speaking, to do this radio show, I actually have to be in tip-top shape. I have to have a high energy level. I have to be hyped up. I have to be, my muscles have to be in good shape to handle what I'm doing here. Something else you can do when it comes to making forward progress after you've eliminated all the bad stuff in your life is to, and this is a little bit segue off of last week when I talked about time planning, is start looking at your day minute by minute and making sure it's filled with productive activities. Again, I've talked about most people and what they do with their day is they wake up in the morning, they open their eyes, they rub them, they dread getting out of bed, they shower, they shave, they do what they need to, they get to work, and they can't wait for 4:45 or 5 o'clock to roll around because then, like all the other sheeple, they'll shuffle out of their building to their car. They'll get in their car. They'll sit in rush hour traffic, and they'll drive home, and they'll get in the house. They'll take off their shoes, and they'll plop on the couch and say, finally, another day gone. I can't wait to not go to work tomorrow. And they can't wait for Saturday and Sunday. And, Saturday morning they talk about how great it is. And then Sunday they dread going back to work again. I don't want you to live like that. What I want you to do is to look at your time after work. Let's say you get up at 5 o'clock and you have to give yourself some spacing time to get home. So let's say half hour, 45 minutes. What can you put on your calendar at 6 o'clock as a productive activity to help you get closer to that perfect day? If you don't maintain a calendar, you need to start doing it now. Highly productive people plan their time. They plan what they're going to execute, and they execute their plan. I'm sure you've heard that cliche before. So you should look at your calendar and create one if you don't already have one. There's a built-in one for Gmail, which I love to use, and start looking at how you can lay things on your calendar every single day, little itty-bitty steps to help you make forward progress. If you're someone that's always wanted to lose, 50 pounds, you know what? You're not going to lose 50 pounds by next week or next month or probably the next 2 months. But what you can do is look at your calendar and say, oh, you know what? Today I'm going to walk half a mile. And then tomorrow I'm going to walk a mile. And then the day after that I'm going to walk 2 miles. Those are little incremental improvements you can make in your life that will help you get towards that big goal, if you will. If you ever thought about calling in, again, the call-in number is 424-222-5282. The chat room is up. Don't forget to share this talk show on social media. And today we're talking about how to create that perfect day. And for those of you that are tuning in late, what I mean by the perfect day is I mean laying out your time and laying out your life so when you wake up in the morning, you cannot wait to jump out of bed. I am a big fan of being happy. And there are some days, I have to admit, where I have things planned that I'm not terribly fond of. But for the most part, I try to lay out my day so that when I wake up at 5:30 in the morning, I am excited to get out of bed. I am excited to get my water regimen started. I'm excited to get to the gym. I am excited for my first meeting because it's helping me get towards my big goals in life. I'm excited for my second, third, and fourth meeting. If I'm lucky, I get to go fly airplanes. I just want you to make sure that you're building that perfect day. Now, at this particular point, we can stop and think about, well, you know what is my perfect day? And that's something I want you to do also, is before you do any of this, before you start eliminating what you don't need to do, and before you start making forward progress, you should take out a blank piece of paper and start writing down some of the things that make you happy. Not the things that, okay, I would just like to do that, but the things that just really get you jazzed up. The things that you would do for free if money was not an issue. If all of your financial needs were taken care of, what would you do? What would you do every single day? You've heard me say flying and speaking. For me, those are my two big ones. If money was not an issue, I would fly all day long. It's probably one of the more expensive hobbies in the world. It's more expensive than drugs, but I would still do it if money weren't an issue. I love looking at the world from the sky. That is a beautiful way to look at society. That's a beautiful way to look at other human beings. It's just to see the world in a big, giant picture. Trust me, it's so much more peaceful up there. But take out a blank piece of paper sometime and write down some of the things that you would do if all your financial needs were covered. Would you hang out at the coffee shop all day? I've thought about that. I've thought about that when I get older. And you know what? I will have no problem getting up in the morning, getting dressed, and going and hanging out in the coffee shop with all the other old farts all morning long and talk about the good old days. That, to me, just sounds fun. I do it now at my local Starbucks. I'll go up there and I'll sit with people and I'll hang and we'll do a people watching and we'll talk about business. We'll talk about football games. We'll talk about society. We'll talk about the cool cars in the parking lot. I get a kick out of just hanging out at coffee shops and talking with the people and seeing who you can meet. So if money were an issue, if I had $1 million coming in every single year, no matter what I did, I would probably spend a lot more time just hanging out at coffee shops. Bookstores would be another one. Flying, I've talked to you about flying endless amount of times. There's been a various amount of classes I'd want to take. I would speak more. There'd probably be some physical activity I do, like CrossFit and some other things. I could sit here on a piece of paper, and I've done it before, and just lay out the things that I want to do to create my perfect day. And I challenge you, if you're someone who wants to have a better life, if you're someone who wants to be a high achiever, and I assume you are because you're listening to the show, then I would challenge you to, when this show is over, and we have about another 5 minutes here, to when the show is over, to take a break before your next activity, whether it's fixing dinner, whether it's, no matter what it is, take a break before your next activity, take out a blank sheet of paper, and write down 3 things that you've always wanted to do. Or 3 things, another way to put this is 3 things that you would do if all of your bills were taken care of. Most people don't do this, and that's the part that's kind of upsetting towards me. But that's also one of the very simple things that you can do to start creating your ideal day. And you're going to hear me use that phrase over and over: ideal day, perfect day. The way you get to a perfect day is start taking small steps every single day. And so your challenge for today is to take that first small step, take out a blank piece of paper, and write down 2 or 3 things that you've always wanted to do. Things that you see on TV. Things that you see other people doing that you think, oh, you know what? I might get to that someday. Oh, or that would be so cool. I can't wait to do that. Or, oh, that would be so cool. I can't believe that person has time to do that, but I don't have time. I've got 5 kids. I've got no money. I've got to work until 6, and I got to come home and work a second job. I guarantee you, for every situation that you can present to me out there, there is someone who's been in that situation. But you know what? You have to want to get out of that situation. You have to want to know how to get out of that sad day, out of the days where you're not happy. Because we only have a limited number of hours on this planet, and it is a waste of time to spend any of them unhappy. But you know what? No one's going to make you happy except for yourself. So you have to start laying out the piece of paper. You have to start writing down things you want to do, and you have to start taking the steps every single day to make progress towards those items. We're coming down to 3 minutes here. For those of you that are listening, either live or recorded, I want to thank you very much for your time. The show, the Stop Doing Nothing High Achievers radio show, is hosted by yours truly, Patrick Allman. I run a company called Focus Consulting in Oklahoma City, where the show is on every single Thursday at 4 p.m. Central Time. I am broadcasting from the big, giant Focus Studios here in Oklahoma City, and by being facetious when I say big, giant. But we like to talk about the things that create high achievers and the things you can do in your life to create perfect days. If you haven't done so, please hop over to Facebook and subscribe to the fan page, facebook.com/stopdoingnothing. I'd also encourage you to go to the website, stopdoingnothing.com, and check out my recent blog post, and also fill in and get up on our email address, which is on the right-hand side towards the top. There are some other ways you can stay in touch with us also if you use an iPod device of any sort. Go over to iTunes and subscribe to this show. If you go to the website show at blogtalkradio.com/stopdoingnothing, there is an iTunes link there, and you can use that to subscribe to this show. So whenever I do a new podcast like this, it shows up automatically on your device, because you know what? You may not have the time to listen live. I completely understand that. If you don't have time to listen live, get subscribed via iTunes. You can listen there. Follow us on social media. I'm Patrick Allman on Facebook, and I'm Patrick Allman on Twitter. Also, I'm very active on Twitter. Twitter's one of my favorite ones to be on. And if you're in the Oklahoma City area, I would encourage you to keep a close eye on KSBI TV and Fox TV. I am on both those television stations on a regular basis. I'm on Fox as their one and only social media contributor. I'm on there about once or twice a month, depending on what the national news has going on. On KSBI TV, I am on there the last Monday of every month in the 1 p.m. hour on the Oklahoma Live Talk Radio Show with Owen, and I believe her name is Alex. So follow us in various ways. I thank you for your time. I promise you, if you will listen to some of the things I said, and if you take to heart some of the tips that I gave out, that you will start changing your life, and you will start setting up you will start setting up your day to be a perfect day. As we wrap this up, remember what I said. After the show, don't just do nothing. I'm building an entire study program, an entire coaching program around the phrase, stop doing nothing. Stop saying tomorrow. Stop saying next week, next month, next quarter, next year. After this show, stop everything you're doing, take out a blank piece of paper, and write down 3 things. You know what? First step. Tomorrow, we'll make a smaller step. Tomorrow we'll make another small step. The day after, another small step, and the day after that. And eventually, you will be living that perfect day. Again, my name has been Patrick Allman. My name is still Patrick Allman, so to speak. Follow us on Facebook at facebook.com/stopdoingnothing. Share this broadcast with a friend of yours if you think it would be helpful. I've enjoyed speaking with you, and we'll talk again next week. Have a great day, and stop doing nothing.